Back to my channel. Today, an art journal tutorial. I'll be passing along what I learned about working with neon paints. We're also going to be doing something with focal image stencils. So I'm using Artist Loft neon paint. I want it bright and bold on this page. And I pre-gessoed the 7x10 Canson Mixed Media page. Now, right off the bat, as I start to apply it, you'll notice that the neon paints are very translucent. They're very light when they go on. It's very difficult to get them to be bold colors. You have to layer it on. So you can put on the first layer, come back and add a second layer. That will build up the intensity of the color. Here's the second tip that I learned. If you mix in with it some regular paints like that turquoise that's fairly opaque, that gives you that contrast and adds depth to the neon paints. I kept adding more and more of the neon paints to the page to get the depth of color that I want. Yeah, but you can see that it's still fairly translucent. Here's the purple, and was so very light that I grabbed a regular opaque paint, and they're marked on their labels. And then I remember seeing a video where someone put gesso with the neon paint. Now, the gesso kind of gives it a base, either when you mix it or if you put the gesso first and then the neons right on top of that. It somehow gives it more depth. So I'm just playing with these neon paints, determined to win the battle, get some brights and bolds that I envisioned for this page. Now, the thing that I discovered about neon paints is also that as they dry, the neon quality comes out even more. So layer them up, mix them with gesso, combine them with other opaque paints to get that contrast instead of using all neon paints. Now that purple, I really wanted to add some purple to the page. Here I grab an opaque paint and I'm liking the contrast, but then I realized that I planned on stenciling with black, and I was afraid that if I kept that dark purple, that it was going to not give me the contrast and the effect that I wanted when I stenciled. So I'm going to undo that in time. My goal here was to have just kind of a whole hodgepodge of color, just all over color, because I'm going to be stenciling with black. So there, I'm adding some gesso on top of the purple, knocking that purple back so that it doesn't interfere with my plan. So as you are art journaling, it's often an exercise in problem solving. Whatever happens on the page, you have to deal with. If it's not what you like, then switch it up. So here I'm adding gesso, and then I'm adding more of this yellow, neon yellow. And yes, this is one hot mess, but I plan on stenciling on top of this, adding pattern and layers, so I'm not too worried. So here I'm stenciling with that regular turquoise paint. This stencil is called Rows of Lines. It's a good basic stencil, good mark making stencil that will work with pretty much any page. And I like the scale of the 6-inch one. Then I stenciled with this watermelon seeds stencil and Prussian blue. The Prussian blue is kind of opaque, but it's giving that some more marks and interest. And it's the same tone as the turquoise paint. I also stenciled with the Slimline Stencil Fence Grid. That's with the white, and you can see that there. Here I'm stamping with this stamp. It's called Heart and Diamonds and Company. Wanted to add, and I'm absolutely loving how this has come out. This is what I envisioned. This is what I was going for. It was a bit of a battle to get there, but just keep going. If you don't like what you see, that just means you're not done yet. You need to add more layers. Adding that fence grid stencil with white knocked back some of that color and it just brought the whole page together. I grabbed this word stamp and my black archival paint. I just wanted a little bit of black in the background because I plan on stenciling my focal image with black. So I didn't want to put too much black or darks in the background. So this stencil is from the Crafter's Workshop, as are all the others, and I am stenciling with black acrylic paint. Now this cup isn't showing up as much as I would like, and I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. So keep watching. So I'm putting 3 of the cups across the bottom, and I've masked off the steam because I don't want that for this composition. And I'm going to put 3 at the top, but I don't want to repeat any of the cups other than the plain one. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm stenciling that one, and then I'm going to move one of the other stencils in the place. And again, you don't have to use the stencils the way they're designed. You can move them around, adjust the composition as you need or as you desire. So I have 3 cups across the top and 3 cups across the bottom. Now, the stenciling is okay, but the cups really aren't showing up as much as I would like. So what am I going to do? I'm going to shade. First, I'm going to shade with black acrylic paint. And I'll put a link to the video, the shading acrylic, my floating acrylic or shading video, if you want to learn this technique. And you can see how shading inside kind of connects the lines of these cup stencils and gives weight to the cups and makes it stand out from the background. Remember, a stencil often has gaps in it, and it's some of those gaps that make it not as substantial as you might want. So this is an easy fix. You could also take a Posca pen or a fine line applicator and fill it in, but I like the look of the shading. You can do shade using this technique that I'm using right now, or you can shade with the Stabilo All Pencil or your favorite way of shading. So this is step 1 to making these cups stand out. Shading with black on the inside of the stencil. And to do this shading technique, I use an angle brush. Links to the stencils and the stamps that I use will be in the description box below. So I'm going back and just adding a little bit more shading where I see fit after it dries. And you can see how these cups are standing out. I'm adding a little bit of white detail using my fine line applicator bottle. Actually, you could doodle on all the cups if you wanted to. Maybe I'll do that in another video. That would also make those cups stand out a lot more. So here's the second part of making these cups stand out. We shaded with the black, and now we're going to shade or highlight with white on the outside. This is kind of separating the cup from the colorful background. And the combination of the two, the shading and the highlighting, make these cups really stand out from the background, which is what the cups are made from. And you can see how the two steps have made it work so much better. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So if you're working on, any focal image that you have on a busy background would benefit from this two-step shading process. Now I could have put a row of cups in the middle. And I thought of doing that, having 9 cups on there. And that would make a nice canvas for a kitchen with the 9 cups. Again, another idea for another video. Lots of ways of using some stencils. So I went and grabbed my coffee or tea sentiment pack. This is available in Innie's Napkins as a digital download. And I'm flipping through. Now these are made for smaller canvases or 4x4 magnets, 5x7. So I blew it up with my printer to about 175%, and I'm putting it right in the middle. And I picked the font that is fairly bold because I wanted it to stand out and go with the black and the neons. Once that's dry, I grab my Posca pen, black, and I'm outlining the sentiment. I decide to give it a double line because I wanted to give it more weight. And then I color in those lines with the same purpose. Alternatively, I could have shaded with the black around it, and that would have really set that off as well. As with most things, there's more than one way to get the same result. And as an artist, as a creator, you pick whatever works best for you. What gives you the most success? But if you're trying something new, try it more than once because the first time is going to feel awkward. Here I'm using my black Posca pen and just outlining a little bit more, giving more definition to the cups. Heated up the tape to remove it without removing paper. And there we have it. Thank you so much. Now finish your coffee and then go get creative.